Welcome to the TalentGrow Show, where you can get actionable, results-oriented insight and advice on how to take your leadership, communication, and people skills to the next level and become the kind of leader people want to follow. And now, your host and leadership development strategist, Halelly Azulay.
Hey there, talent growers. Welcome back to another episode of the TalentGrow Show. This time it is a solo episode that I call Ask Halelly. Every once in a while, I do one of these episodes where instead of an interview with someone else, I answer a question that I received from a podcast listener, a member of the media, or someone who has taken one of my workshops or was in the audience for one of my conference sessions where I speak. And this particular question is about how to lead people who don't want to follow. I'm Halelly Azulay. I'm your leadership development strategist here at TalentGrow, and I can't wait for you to listen to this episode. You can also watch it on my blog, the video that I recorded. You can go to talentgrow.com/blog. And it's the latest one that's releasing at the same time as this episode. If you're listening in real time, or if you're listening to this at a later date, you can just search by keyword Naysayers. So here we go. Let's get into it. Being a leader is really hard. It's one of the hardest jobs you'll ever have, but it also can be very rewarding. And I try to help leaders be the kind of leader that people actually want to follow. But I was recently asked the question, Halelly, what do I do if I am experiencing someone or maybe a couple of different people on my team who don't seem to want to follow my direction, my vision, my guidance? What should I do with people like that who seem to be resistant to following or non-compliant? Now, I have lots and lots of advice on my podcast, The TalentGrow Show, on my blog and my books, and in the work that I do in the world that can help you become the kind of leader people want to follow and to become a more influential and more successful leader. But I want to challenge you today. When you experience pushback, when you experience resistance, when you experience someone who seems to not follow what you're doing, instead of following that knee-jerk reaction of resentment, look for ways in which they might actually be helping you out. Are they doing you a favor by pushing back? So think about the Titanic as a metaphor. If you were on the deck of the Titanic and you're the captain and you just told everybody to rearrange the chairs on the deck of the Titanic because they're moving around, hopefully, if there's an employee on that deck who saw that iceberg over on the horizon, they probably will push back on your instruction to rearrange the deck chairs. And if you are open to listening to their perspective, you might learn from them why. And you could potentially avoid a very, very disastrous decision and change your mind about what you've asked everyone to do. So when someone is pushing back, how could you entertain their resistance without that resentment, but with curiosity? What might they be seeing or what might they know that you don't? They have a different perspective on the work. They have a different kind of input from clients or people on the front line that you don't. And they could be doing you a huge favor by pushing back and giving you some input about what might be a mistake in the direction that you're setting. So challenge yourself. That when you experience some resistance, when you experience a challenge, when someone seems to be getting in your way and not just following in line, maybe there is a way in which they're helping you out, and maybe you should be thankful for it. One of the guests I've had on the podcast before, Ira Shalev, wrote a book called Courageous Followership. And as courageous leaders, which was another book he wrote, we definitely want to develop people around us who are willing and able to push back and to resist leadership that could be guiding them in the wrong direction, like what happened in Enron, in that fiasco where people didn't feel comfortable to speak up. Daniel Goleman coined the term CEO disease. I wrote about this in a blog post where I said, leaders, you need to nurture your naysayers. CEO disease is when people, as they rise up, begin to be surrounded by yes men and yes women, people who just toe the line, who tell them their ideas are all great, who just say yes, who don't push back. The more that you move into a higher and higher position of leadership, the greater the risk is that people will be afraid to push back. People will be afraid to be naysayers. So when you experience someone as a naysayer, instead of seeing them as someone who's in your way or something to fix, be looking for a way in which to nurture, develop, and encourage them to speak up so that you can have that additional perspective and potentially prevent disastrous problems. I hope you enjoyed this Ask Halelly episode, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you thought about this particular one and whether you agree with me that maybe you need to nurture your naysayers. By the way, I mentioned that there is a video that's over on my blog, and you can definitely go and watch it over there. And also, as I mentioned in the episode, I did write a blog post that lays out exactly what CEO disease is, how to know that you have it, and how to avoid it, with 5 tips for nurturing naysayers. And that's also over on the blog, and I'll link to it in the show notes. So I definitely encourage you to go over there and check it out. Before we close out, I just wanted to share with you a fabulous review that I received on Apple Podcasts, formerly known as iTunes. And this one comes from Co-Visioner. The title of this review is Always Useful Ideas, and Co-Visioner says, every show gives me tips and actionable steps I can apply to strengthen my own business and my relationships with others. The show keeps getting better. Thank you, Halelly, for finding great experts and facilitating worthwhile programs. Co-Visioner, I really appreciate you. Thank you for that very kind and generous review. Reviews are a great way for other people to, when they discover the show, to feel encouraged to check it out. So if you haven't yet left an Apple Podcasts review for the show, it is so easy to do, and it means so much to me. As you could hear, it's short, 1, 2, 3 sentences, and all you have to do is just say what you like about the show, and hopefully you'll leave 5-star rating as well. And I thank you in advance if you did that, and of course I can read it on a future episode of the TalentGrow Show. All right, well, I'm Halelly Azulay, your leadership development strategist here at TalentGrow, and this has been another Ask Halelly episode of the TalentGrow Show. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you'll apply what you learned here. And until the next time, make today great.
Thanks for listening to the TalentGrow Show, where we help you develop your talent to become the kind of leader that people want to follow. For more information, visit talentgrow.com.